everyone, greetings from Australia. Welcome back to our channel. My name is Ruth and I am an Australian immigration law practitioner here in Australia. Well, in today's video, I would like to share with you 5 things you must know in order to attain an Australian partner visa. Now, please do not treat the contents of this video as legal or migration advice because each case will be assessed on a case-by-case basis. However, I trust that the content in this video will provide value and provide you with a brief guideline as to what you need to look out for if you were to apply for an Australian partner visa. So let's get started. So what are the 5 things you must show for an Australian partner visa? So the first thing you must show is that finances. So immigration actually expects couples to share their finances, and these are assessed based on various things such as if you have a joint bank account, if you contribute equally to the bank account, if you can. Now I understand that in some cases, one party to the relationship might be the sole breadwinner, and in this case we have a few clients where the wife does not work. They would stay home, they would look after the house, look after the kids, and that's fine. So immigration doesn't really say that both of you have to be equal in your income earning capacity, but if you're both working, then they do expect you to contribute to the family home, and usually this is evidence based on a joint account. Now, what if you don't actually have a joint account and you have separate accounts? Well, then usually what we recommend our clients do is to explain to immigration and say, my husband pays for XYZ, whereas I pay for groceries, etc., etc. So you can always explain, but it's so important to make it clear to immigration. Don't assume that they know everything about your relationship. But it's so important to show them that you are committed, you are in the relationship together. It's not one-sided. And money is one of the biggest consideration when it comes to partner visa. The next example that I would like to share with you when it comes to finances would be things like, if you own any joint assets together. For example, if you own a house together, if you have a mortgage, if you have an investment property, if you have any joint insurance, or if you worked in Australia, then superannuation. So superannuation is a really good evidentiary material when it comes to partner visa. So in most cases, you would know what superannuation is, but for those who might be from overseas, you might not really understand what it is. So what it is if you've worked in Australia or if you worked overseas, your employer would have contributed a certain amount of percentage of pay into your retirement account. And usually you probably are able to only access that money when you're 55 or 60 years old when you retire. So in this case, it's always a good idea to nominate your partner or your spouse as the beneficiary to that superannuation. So what that means is if something happens to you, then the other party is going to benefit from the finances or the funds that are available in the superannuation. Now, this obviously doesn't mean that you have to give 100% to that person, especially if you've got children, or if this is your second relationship or third relationship and you've got other kids you would like to benefit. So in that case, then it's really solely your decision whether you want to nominate your partner as a beneficiary. But at the same time, in some cases, you can say, well, 50% will go to my partner, and then the rest will be divided amongst my children. So you can always sort of think around those lines as to, the long-term plans. At the same time, wills are actually really good evidentiary material. Now, I notice not a lot of our clients have wills, But again, will is fantastic because if something happens to one of the parties, then how are you going to divide the assets, etc. So it all comes back to finances, whether you are legally committed to each other for the long haul. So that's in regard to finances. So that's the first thing you must know, finances. The second thing you must show to obtain a partner visa is evidence or an account as to the nature of your household. Now, this is an interesting one. Like I said, immigration doesn't know everything about your relationship, so it's so important that you actually explain to them what happens in the house when you live together. For example, usually when we handle a partner visa case, we'll ask our client and we'll ask them the question, well, who does the cooking? Who does the cleaning? Who puts out the rubbish? Who mows the lawn? Who puts away dishes? Etc. So sometimes it could be a shared task. Like for example, both partners could be cooking and both would clean, and one might clean if the other one goes away for work. One might put the rubbish out if it's full. So you can always explain that. Or the husband would be mowing the lawn and the wife would be doing the laundry, etc. So they want to know how it's sort of the setting of the house. How you work together as a couple, as a committed couple. And also I like to say, bring life to the household in a sense that what do you like to do at home? Like, do you like to watch Netflix together or Stan or DVDs? Do you like to do takeout or Uber Eats on your night off? Do you like to go out, for a walk in the park or take the dog out for a walk in the park? So give them details. I mean, not a lot of details, but just enough to show them that, hey, this is how we work. This is our relationship. This is how we enjoy each other's company. And we play with the dog or the cat when we have time. So nature of household, very, very important. So that's the second thing you must show for a partner visa. The third thing you must show for a partner visa is whether or not you're a couple in the social setting. Now, this is very important. This has actually become even more important in the recent years, especially right now with, us being surrounded and overwhelmed with tons of social medias. We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got YouTube, we've got TikTok, and a whole bunch of other things. But so immigration wants to know that you are a couple socially. So that means it is quite important, in some cases that even actually go on Facebook and check and to see if you've posted anything, if you're in a relationship with your partner. So you just want to be aware that, I understand that for some of us, we are fairly private in our relationship. We don't post a lot of things, and that's fine. But to satisfy the requirements of the visa, socially, people need to know that you are in a relationship, unless there's exceptional circumstances, in which we have, for example, we had a client and for confidentiality reason, we can't provide more details. But what I can say is that they are definitely in a real relationship, but for personal reasons, they weren't able to show that to people from the home country for specific reasons. And we explained that, but we could show other supplementary evidence, and our client received a visa grant. So that was great. But the general rule is that socially, you need to be a couple. So for that reason, immigration will expect you to provide information on what you like to do as a couple socially, whether you like to go out to the movies, walk in the park, travel together, go shopping, visit family and friends. And that they like to see photos, not just, you guys, the two of you, but photos with real people, when you go out or when you have like a Christmas party or birthday party, there's a bunch of people around and you're taking photos with family members. That is not like a secret relationship. Now, the reason why this is important is because And sometimes, we have clients who say, well, but it's really private. We're really private people. So why are they asking for all this information? Well, I can understand where the Australian government is coming from, because there are a lot of fake relationships out there that are not real. And, because of what some of the fake applicants did, people like yourself who are in a real relationship will have to go through all these checklists, For example, I have heard of cases where people, offered to pay some large sum of money, and they were going to arrange, for like a real person, but a fake relationship. To say, let's just get married, and then 2 years later we're going to get a divorce. I'm going to pay you this much of money, which is pretty crazy because of what they did. People like yourselves have to now go through the stringent checklist. And so for that reason, it's important that you are recognized in your social setting as a couple to prove that it is a genuine relationship. So that's the social side. The fourth thing you must show to attain a partner visa is you need to show that you are committed to one another. You commit to each other for the long haul. So with that, whether if you're a de facto or you're married, you need to provide evidence of same. If you usually evidence of communication is great. For example, if you've been ringing each other on Skype or WhatsApp or just your normal phone, it's always good to produce like a call log and say, hey, this is me ringing my partner, this is my partner ringing me. And also exchange of messages to each other, like, good night, babes, I love you, babes. So you don't have to provide everything because there are things that are private and confidential, but you can choose, screenshots of different messages taken over a different time frame and produce that in a PDF document. So we usually, tell our clients how we want it to be set out, because we don't want to provide like 50 different screenshots to immigration, because first of all, there is insufficient space. You only allow like 100 documents on the attachment, and you don't want to give them like 100 documents to go through. So what we normally say is, if you can compile the similar documents as one and just make it concise and explain and say, this message was sent approximately, January 2018 or something like that. So, and then you have a compilation as to that. And at the same time, photos, travel, itinerary, we advise our clients to do the same. That way it's really easy for immigration to go, oh, okay, so this is, and also to mention who are in the photos and say, oh, that's my mom, that's my dad, just give a little brief, just to make it easier for the case officer, because they've got so many documents to go through, And so I think it's always good to make it concise for the decision maker. The other thing that immigration can consider would be things like gifts for each other. So if you've bought gifts for each other, you might want to keep the receipts, don't throw them away, or take a photo and say, oh, this is a photo, this is a hat that I bought for my husband, for his birthday, or this is a pair of shoes that I bought for my wife. So gifts to each other. And also, I always encourage my clients to write like a personal statement to say why you think the other person is the one for you. Why, so usually clients, they just pour their heart out and say, yeah, he's the greatest guy I've met. He's so kind, and, she's lovely. She loves me for who I am. And, so you want to be able to tell immigration that, hey, we actually really love each other. This is not just a marriage or a relationship of convenience. This is love. And so that's number 4. The 5th thing you must show to attain an Australian partner visa is you need to show the development of your relationship. Now, this is really, really important. Now, facts. It's all about the facts of your case. So pretty much, you need to show them how you first met, when you first met. So time frame is quite important. Now, you may not be able to remember like, oh, it was the 15th of September of 2017 that we met. Because sometimes it could just be like, oh, it was like in spring, or maybe it was closer to the end of 2018. So usually you should be able to cover yourself if you say, well, approximately this month and this year we met at a friend's birthday party or something. And then they want to know, how did it develop? Well, I saw him and he was really good looking, and so I asked for his number. I'm just making this up, right? But so you want to show them how it developed, and then you exchange your numbers, and then you started texting each other, and then you thought, oh, let's go out for a date, and then it's sort of just one thing led to the other, and finally, you got together and you got married. So dates, places are really, really vital, and also current arrangement, like what's going on with the relationship now, and also your future plans. For example, what do we want to do in the future? What do I want to do when I get my visa? Well, maybe I want to set up a business with my spouse, or I want to travel, or we want to have a family together and have kids, or we want to build a huge house, So you can actually share your future plans just, briefly with immigration. But it's all about providing evidence and also having witness statements. So witness statements are really important to show that, yep, so-and-so got together. Yeah, we've seen them, and, he's my son or she's my daughter, and I can confirm that it's a real relationship, and I think that they're really good for each other. So witness statements, so it's all about the evidence. I recall having a client who she's definitely in a genuine relationship with her husband. They've even got a child together, and they live together for some time. But at the time they chose to apply for the visa themselves, so they didn't actually use an agent. They actually did a pretty good application, but for some reason, when it came to the evidence part, it was pretty good, but it just wasn't good enough for immigration. So as a result of that, the application was refused. They contacted us after that and said, hey, we didn't think that we needed, professional help for the case. So we took it to appeal and we won it. But one thing I learned from this case is that it's not about whether your relationship is real or not. It is about that. I mean, you have to be in a genuine relationship. Don't do fake relationships. But it's all about the evidence, because clearly this couple are together. They've got a baby together. But for some reason, the evidence that they provided to immigration was just insufficient. And that's why I always suggest to my clients, if it's financially viable, especially if you are investing your life and a huge sum of funds for the partner visa, you want to get somebody who is pretty a professional, who can assist you and who knows what they're doing, to make sure that you meet every single requirement. So if this is, if you're looking at partner visa, or if you've got a family member who's looking at the visa, and if you need help, just contact us, let us know, and we would be happy to assess your case, and also look after your case for you if that's something that you require. But to summarize, the five things you must show for a partner visa are: number 1, finances; number 2, nature of household; number 3, social settings; number 4, the nature of your commitment to each other; and number 5, the development of your relationship. Now, please do not treat this list as if it's exhaustive, because these are not the only 5 things that you have to show. There's a whole bunch of other things that you need to show. But in today's video, I just wanted to run through the 5 requirements that immigration looks at. Apart from that, obviously there are forms and a whole bunch of character, health check that you have to go through. But hopefully the contents of this video will give you a brief idea as to what you need to look out for if you are preparing to apply for a partner visa. So once again, please do not treat the contents of this video as legal or migration advice, because we assess each case on a case-by-case basis. If you need help, just drop us an email down below, or submit a form through our website, and we would be happy to assist. Well, we want to wish you the very best in your future endeavors, and also if you're looking at a partner visa, then all the best with your application.